Imagine discovering a backdoor way to own a stake in 8 FDA-approved dermatology brands, a rare disease drug racing toward a September PDUFA, and getting all of that for less than the value of a single subsidiary. If Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank heard this pitch, he would lean in immediately. Why? Because it's built on something he lives for: royalties. Fortress Biotech, ticker FBIO, is exactly that, a royalty machine hidden in a biotech wrapper. Tonight, we'll unpack the hidden asset puzzle, the upcoming catalyst, and why a pause preferred dividend might be the smartest cash preservation move you've never considered.
Biotech breakthrough stuns medical world. This is the pill that could change everything.
Fortress Biotech was founded in 2006 and retooled under physician investor Dr. Lindsay Rosenwald in 2013. From its headquarters in Miami, the mission is simple: find overlooked assets, incubate them in small subsidiaries, and let those spin-outs fund the mothership via equity dividends and sales royalties. Here's how it works. Fortress identifies promising late-stage or underfunded drug candidates. Instead of trying to develop everything in-house, Fortress creates subsidiaries or partners with external companies to advance each drug. These subsidiaries run independently, but Fortress collects a cut from their success. Here are some of Fortress's key subsidiaries and their flagship assets. Number 1 is Journey Medical, ticker DERM. Fortress owns 42.7% of this company. DERM focuses on dermatology. Surprise! Fortress receives dividends and indirect exposure to multiple brand and dermatology products, including Accutane, Targadox, Ximino, Exelderm, Zilxi, Amzeeq, and Qbrexza. Number 2, Cyprium Therapeutics is 76% owned by Fortress. Cyprium is developing Cadex 101 for Menkes disease. Fortress will receive royalties and milestone payments and 100% of the value of a potential PRV coupon if approved. Number 3, Checkpoint Therapeutics, previously majority owned. They recently sold their lead drug, Unloxit, to Sun Pharma in 2025. Fortress retains a 2.5% royalty on future Unloxit sales and up to $4.8 million in contingent payments. Number 4, Eureka Therapeutics. Fortress owns a significant stake and receives a 3% royalty on future sales of Dotinurad, a gout treatment licensed to Crystals Therapeutics. Number 5, Halocyte, developing the triplex CMV vaccine, currently in phase 2 trial funded by the NIH itself. Potentially future royalty stream as well. And number 6, last but not least, Mustang Bio, working on cell therapies including MB101 for glioblastoma and MB106 CD20 targeted CAR-T. Fortress holds equity but does not currently collect any royalties. This structure gives Fortress exposure to over 20 clinical and commercial programs with diversified risk and steady potential royalty income. But before we move on, it's worth asking, who built this? If you're going to invest in a company with 20 plus moving parts and royalty deals stretching across multiple subsidiaries, the leadership has to be rock solid. And in Fortress's case, it is. Let's meet the team behind this complex but surprisingly efficient machine. Dr. Lindsay Rosenwald is a seasoned biotech dealmaker with over 25 years of experience. He co-founded Paramount Biocapital and sits on the boards of Journey Medical, Checkpoint, and Mustang Bio. Michael Weiss, the executive vice chair, is the former CEO of TG Therapeutics and a Columbia Law graduate who brings strong capital markets experience. Then we have David Jean, CFO and head of corporate development. Previously led deals at Barings Private Equity and Sorrento, and now manages Fortress's intricate network of subsidiaries. This matters because the holding company model only works when leadership can juggle multiple financings, partnerships, and exits. And this team has done it all before. And now that we've seen who's running the show and why their track record gives us confidence, let's look at what could be the biggest near-term catalyst in Fortress's entire portfolio. One drug, one disease, one shot at FDA approval this September. And that's their flagship copper histidinate, or called Codex 101. Let's break this down in plain English because the science here is powerful, but it's the human story that really matters. Menkes disease is a rare and deadly condition that mostly affects baby boys. It's caused by a single genetic flaw that stops the body from transporting copper. And without copper, the body can't activate key enzymes that are vital for brain development, strong bones, and healthy tissues. Most babies born with Menkes appear normal at birth, but within a few weeks, things start to go wrong. They become weak, they stop growing, they have seizures, their hair becomes thin and brittle, their bones become very fragile, and their brain development slows down drastically. Most of them don't survive beyond age 3. Right now, there's no FDA-approved treatment. Doctors sometimes try compounded copper acetate, but it's not standardized and painful to administer, and it doesn't work well. Now here's where Codex 101 could change everything. This drug uses a special stabilized form of copper, called copper histidinate. It's injected under the skin in a gentle body-friendly formula. It bypasses the body's broken transporter system and delivers usable copper directly into the bloodstream, where it can start turning those critical enzymes back on. In a clinical trial at the NIH with 22 infants, the results were dramatic. Babies treated early with Codex 101 saw their 3-year survival rate nearly double. That's not a tweak, that's a potential lifeline. They also showed better motor skills and cognitive development. How about side effects? Very mild, just some temporary redness at the injection site. Codex 101 is Fortress's biggest near-term opportunity. The FDA accepted the NDA for Codex in January 2025 and granted priority review. The PDUFA date is set for September 30, 2025, and the program is eligible for Priority Review Voucher, potentially worth over $100 million. The drug is being commercialized through Cyprium Therapeutics, a Fortress subsidiary that is 76% owned by Fortress, as previously mentioned. They partnered with Cento Therapeutics since they will handle the commercial launch, allowing Cyprium to retain up to $129 million in milestones, tiered royalties of 3 to 12%, and full coupon proceeds, all with zero marketing costs borne by Fortress. Codex 101 is very likely to be the first to market and for now first in class. The compounded solutions we mentioned before are now competition. Well, what about gene therapy? It's a good question. AAV-based gene therapy programs aimed at replacing the ATP7A gene are in preclinical stages. These programs are exciting, but they're still years away from approval. Even if successful, it's likely that patients would still require copper supplementation like Codex 101, especially early in life. The bottom line here is that Fortress Codex 101 faces virtually no direct competition in the near term. With orphan drug designation, 7 years of market exclusivity post-approval, and a compelling clinical profile, Codex 101 is well positioned to dominate this space, and that means Fortress stands to collect significant royalties with little threat to its market share for years to come. And now, let's talk finances. Fortress Biotech Q2 2025 earnings gave us a much clearer picture of how the business is positioned heading into this crucial stretch. They reported $16.4 million in consolidated revenue, mostly driven by Journey Medical's dermatology portfolio. That's up from $13.1 million in Q1, showing steady growth. Net income came in positive, $13.36 million, a major reversal from the $12.7 million loss in Q1. Basic earnings per share hit 50 cents, first time positive in a very long time. On the balance sheet side, Fortress ended the quarter with $74.39 million in cash and short-term investments, giving them breathing room as we approach Codex 101's PDUFA. Total assets came in at about $160 million versus $122 million in liabilities. And now, important stuff. Let's talk about burn. Research and development expenses rose to $8 million, up from $3.9 million in Q1, as they invested in pipeline programs. Admin expenses climbed to $46 million from $29 million, largely tied to expansion and commercialization preparations. Importantly, Fortress still holds about $56.4 million in long-term debt, primarily with Oaktree and SWK, but there are no major maturities until July 2027. Now, there was a smart move that happened, and to conserve cash, the company also paused its 9.3% preferred stock dividend, saving around $700,000 per month. Those dividends are cumulative, meaning holders will be paid eventually, but the pause buys Fortress's valuable runway. As of Q2, shares outstanding sit around 29.75 million, which dilution has remained modest so far, especially compared to other microcap biotechs, as we all know. The short version, Fortress isn't burning cash recklessly. It has strengthened its balance sheet post-checkpoint sale, and it's likely funded well into 2026, with a clear line of sight to major milestones in the months ahead. And now we get to the best part of the video, my favorite section. Let's take a step back and talk about what Fortress could actually be worth, depending on how the story unfolds from here, of course. We'll talk through three possible scenarios: a bad case, a base case, and a best case. And remember, this is not financial advice. It's just one way to think through the opportunity. In a bad case scenario, the FDA rejects Codex 101. The coupon doesn't materialize, and Fortress is forced to lean on its dermatology business and existing cash. Investors would likely reprice the stock closer to its tangible assets, mostly the Journey stake and cash reserves. In that world, Fortress might be worth around $4 per share. I repeat, $4 per share. Not catastrophic, but definitely a letdown. In the base case, where the FDA says yes, the voucher sells for a typical $150 million and Sentinel pays out a good chunk of milestones. You start to see the real upside. Add in early royalties and the value of the Journey stake, and you could be looking at something closer to $12 per share. That's more than 5 times the current stock price. Now, just imagine the best case scenario. Codex 101 gets fast adoption, the voucher sells quickly, milestones keep rolling in, global expansions takes off, and royalty checks start piling up. Factor in confidence spilling over in other pipeline assets, and Fortress could be worth $14 a share, or maybe more. That's a 6-fold return or better from where it trades today. So while nothing is guaranteed, you're looking at a setup where the downside is buffered by cash and assets, and the upside could be truly transformative if things go right. So where does that leave us? Fortress Biotech is not your typical clinical stage biotech company. It has real products generating real revenue. It has partnerships that pay out royalties instead of draining resources. And it has near-term catalysts with Codex 101, with the potential to unlock massive value through a first-in-class approval and a priority review voucher worth as much or more than the company's entire market cap. And add to that a leadership team with billion-dollar exits under their belt, a unique royalty-based business model, and exposure to over 20 different programs. And you start to understand why this isn't just another biotech lotto ticket, right? Yes, there are risks. Regulatory outcomes, commercialization execution, and the market adoption, they all play a role. But at the current prices, Fortress offers something rare in biotech: a shot at asymmetric upside backed by assets already in motion. If you're the type of investor who wants to be early, who looks to mispriced optionality before the market catches on, Fortress Biotech just might be worth your attention. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments. I would love to hear your thesis or your skepticism, whatever it is. And as always, none of this is financial advice, just information, some analysis, and a little storytelling. I'll see you in the next one.